Today, we're going to be talking about solving proportions. So, what is a proportion exactly? Most of the proportions that you see will have at least one or more fractions with an equal sign between them. So, in our case here, we have a fraction on the left and we have a fraction on the right, separated with an equal sign in between. Proportions also show equivalent relationships, like how one half is equivalent to two fourths, but it's also equivalent to three sixths, and so on and so forth. And sometimes you might have an unknown number in a proportion. In this case, we don't know what j is. Well, one way we can solve for the variable here is we can cross multiply and create a new equation. I'll show you what I mean. So you kind of draw like a cross here, like this, like an X cross. And the numbers in this cross here that you make, you just multiply them out. So in this case, we have 10 times j. That gives us 10j. And then we're going to put an equal sign in between. And then we have 15 times 6. And if we multiply it out, we get 10j equals 90. Now we want to isolate the j. So what operation are we doing to the j here? Well, we're multiplying it by 10. Well, what's the opposite of multiplying by 10? Well, it's dividing by 10. And you have to remember that we want to do this to both sides of the equation. 10 divided by 10 is 1, so we're left with j is equal to 90 divided by 10 is 9. So we're left with j equals 9. Here's another problem. Again, this is a proportion. How do we know? Because we have a fraction on the left and a fraction on the right with an equal sign in between. This time we're interested in finding what is the value of w. So again, I'm just going to cross multiply here, draw like a little cross, like an X here, and we're just going to multiply the numbers in the cross here. So 6 times w is 6w equals 3 times 978. Okay? And if you multiply it out, 3 times 978, you should get 2,934. So we want to find what w is. How do we get w by itself? Well, what operation are we doing to w? Well, we're multiplying by 6. What is the opposite of multiplying by 6? It's dividing by 6. And so we're going to do that at both sides, and we should get w equals 489. Here's another one. Again, we know this is a proportion because there's a fraction on the left, a fraction on the right, with an equal sign between. We're going to draw a cross. 15.6 times f is 15.6 f. 10 times 7.8. 10 times 7.8 is 78. And if you divide both sides by 15.6, you should get f equals 5. Here's another problem. Again, we know this is a proportion because we have a fraction to our left, to our right, and separated with an equal sign in between. Now, you might notice instead of a simple k, we have k plus 5 instead. But that doesn't change how we solve for the variable in this proportion. So again, we're going to draw our cross here and multiply everything out. We have k plus 5, the entire thing, multiplied by 18 is equal to 14 times 9. So on the left here, we can distribute. So 18 times k is 18k. We're going to copy the addition sign. 18 times 5 is 90. It's equal to 14 times 9 is 126. What operations are we doing to the k here on the left? Well, I noticed that we're multiplying and we are adding. If you remember PEMDAS, the order of operations, when we solve for the variable, we want to go the reverse. And you'll notice that we hit addition first before the multiplication. So we want to deal with the addition first. So we're going to do the opposite of addition. So what are we adding by here? We're adding by 90. What's the opposite of adding by 90? Well, it's taken away, subtracting 90. And you notice on this side, it'll cancel out, and we're left with 18k is equal to 126 minus 90 is 36. And then we're going to divide both sides by 18. And we're left with k equals 2. I want to mention that at this step, we could also choose to divide by 18 here because we're multiplying the whole thing, k plus 5, by 18. We can isolate k by dividing both sides by 18. And 18s will cancel out, and we're left with k plus 5 is equal to 14 times 9 is 126 divided by 18. So we're left with k plus 5 is equal to 7. So what are we doing to k here? What operation? Well, we're adding by 5. Well, the opposite of adding by 5 is subtracting by 5. And we're left with k equals 2. We end up with the same answer.